Oh, I'm excited for this, Lidakor. I don't know about you, but I'm really looking forward to this one because we have got ourselves quite the match today. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to game number 4 between DeMusliM and Beastyqt. Spawning in on the south side of the map, playing as the Mongols in the color blue, it is Beastyqt. And take a look at that spawn. Nice and close to all of those important resources.
Yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful spot over there. The Ovo is a bit of an interesting spot. I would say it's at the side of the forest, but this is what we were talking about. The English, they can open with the men-at-arms in Dark Age, but it's a gamble. You have to start making the barracks and the men-at-arms before you scout the opponent's base. And against Mongols, you risk not being able to do any damage because there's a possibility of that gold mine being right next to the town center. Against other civilizations, this gamble is probably way better for the English. So that's part of the reason why we're not seeing a man-at-arms attempt here by the Muslim. Instead, he's dropping an early mill, which is a sign that he's gonna go on the heavy farming pathway. And this is something that the Mongols could exploit really well with Tower Rush.
Yeah, it's definitely something that could be done. It's important to remember that going up against the English, though, those archers, or rather those villagers, are archers as well. They have got bows in their pockets, ready to fire. And keep in mind, they do as much damage as an archer actually does. 5 damage a shot. So 5 archers will 2-shot an enemy villager. And so if you're looking to try and tower rush an English player, you have to be very cognizant of the fact that they might actually pull their bows out and shoot you dead before you can even get it up.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So you're gonna need those spearmen right on the battlefield the moment you start dropping the tower, and preferably you want to make a little more passive tower that's essentially your staging ground, and then just expand from that point. You don't want to go super aggressive with your tower placement if you decide to do that, but looks like Beasty is not doing that. He's just going straight to feudal mining the gold out there. You mentioned it a lot of times throughout Golden League that the Muslim loves to play the English. Can you guess how many wins and how many losses he has in Golden League with the English?
I'm going to say a total of 14 games played with 11 wins and 3 losses.
A total of 6 games played with 2 wins and 4 losses. So it's actually one of the weaker civilizations of the Muslim based on the stats.
Damn, man. In my head, I'd hyped him up to be an amazing English player. Look, he's still a great English player, I'm sure. It's just, he probably had some tough matchups. You know, he pulls it out when you know, he's... Jeez, I was wildly inaccurate.
Yeah, it's a surprising stat because, as you pointed out, the Muslim is a great English player out there, but it didn't really show in this tournament so far. But if there's a time to change that one, it is right now, because with a win here, he would even up the score, and with a loss, Beasty would move on to match point, but this is gonna be a tough matchup for him, because we talked about this. Beasty, that is not the council hall. That is the Abbey of the Kings.
Oh my lord, it's happening. It's happening. Oh. It's happening. Get your it's happening emotes out right now. We are seeing an Abbey of Kings coming out. What does this mean?
Oh,
it's so bright.
I have
so vivid.
Seen the Muslim do this against Rus. Hear me out. The idea for the Muslim was against the Rus is that he placed double stable Abbey of Kings, and the idea was that he was trying to deny that board with just mass horsemen, and he had a large mass because he's got a good food eco behind this. He can dive in, take that tower down, kill the villagers inside, and then go back for healing. Now, against the Mongols, I'm not exactly sure what the idea is, but this could be super aggressive, and I don't think that Beast is expecting this at all.
Oh, I don't even know where to begin on theory crafting this, just because it's so rare that we see it actually work. Now, obviously, there's players like Corp who loved I'll clarify, not Core, but Corp. I think his name is pronounced Corp or Kaup. I'm not sure exactly, but it's K-A-U-P. He loves the Abbey of Kings, and he brings it out all the time. He has mixed success with it, so I'm curious to see whether this could be the secret card DeMusliM has got up his sleeve and looks to pull this game away from Beastyqt.
I mean, you said Cop loves it, but there's a reason why Cop is not in the top 8 right now. I'm just joking. Of course, we love you, Cop.
Hey.
He's a super fun guy to look at. Like, he is one of the nicest guys in the community, but some trash talking never hurts. But yeah, as you said, this is going to be an interesting one for DeMusliM. Somewhat unexpected and very much out of the meta. The thing that I love about this one is that I remember that back when we casted maybe Winter Championships or something, that was the era where not a single time have we seen the Abbey of the Kings. And we were theory crafting in those sets. It's like, can you imagine any condition where you would use the Abbey? And they're like, maybe if you play English horseman, you could use it, but no one would ever do that, right? Guess what?
Right.
It's wrong.
Well, the problem is this, okay? Because even though, sure, you want to go horsemen, you want to go knights, all that kind of stuff. When you don't go for the council hall, you are affecting the rest of your game. Because there is a point in this game where you are going to want to make longbows. And that point, when it comes, you're going to have to make archery ranges before you do that. You're not naturally going to have the council hall ready for you to make those longbows. And because that is something that you're so used to, something that's so typical for English players, that it's going to seem very strange all of a sudden not having that longbow.
I agree with you to a certain extent, because one of the concerns that you have with the Abbey is that, as you said, you forfeit your ability to immediately add longbows if you ever need to. And even if you don't use the Abbey for most of the game, just the sheer fact that you have the ability to add those longbows is something that adds a lot of value to this one. Obviously, now that Abbey is going to be helpful to heal that scout up out there. But as you said, if DeMusliM is going to be in the need of adding some longbows, the only way that he's going to be able to do that is by dropping archer ranges. For now, 2 horsemen coming in though by Beasty, and you gotta wonder what exactly DeMuslim's plan is here, because he's mining a lot of gold. You get the feel that this is essentially a semi-fast castle from him with just horseman defense.
Is it going to be a horseman defense? I feel like he's using the villagers here as well. And take note, he's using the villagers to great effect. He's just forcing the Khan to fall back there with the horsemen. But he's been fighting with these units non-stop. And he's been rotating the villagers in and out. So he's got them on the gold mine, but as soon as they take damage, he moves them back towards the town center, replaces them on a farm, moves the farm villager out to the gold mine, and all of a sudden, he's got a full health villager that has just repaired. So it's a smart move from him, using this to sort of defend against the tower rush, just using the Abbey of Kings.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It's a smart move from him. Even if he didn't have the ability to heal up those villagers, just pulling back the weak villager close to the town center where it's difficult to snipe is already a nice little touch, and it's going to help make sure that you don't lose villagers unnecessarily. Now, there is 2 towers at the back of that wood line, and that's not something that DeMusliM has reacted to just yet. Instead, is relocating his lumberjacks, but guess what? Beast is dropping the other tower, and this is exactly how you want to tower rush the English, without the English player seeing it. Because, as you said, if the English player sees it, getting those towers up is going to be very difficult, but how about just sneaking up those towers at the back of those forests?
Yeah, he's doing such a good job with it. And we can see those villagers actually moving forward to deny. Actually, they're not even going forward to deny. What are they doing right now? Look at the trees that they decided to chop. You just got to wonder how the villagers work. But it looks like that outpost is going to be able to get up. Villager jumps inside it, nice and safe. And
no,
now all of a sudden... Oh, did the villager die? How did the villager die? So. King's Palace going to be going up here for DeMusliM. So he's going to be able to get up to the Castle Age. Yeah. Everything is good for him. Now, keep in mind, Beasty is also going to be going up to the Castle Age. He's got about half the food, or rather 2/3 of the food, and almost all the gold at this point. But he is struggling right now, DeMusliM, with wood. That is going to be the hardest thing for him. And he is really, he is just he's being encroached from on all sides right now.
And the concerning thing for DeMusliM is that wood is a bit of a problem right now for him, because he needs production buildings, he needs buildings for upgrades as well, he needs more farms. You see, he was able to afford a second stable, but he doesn't have a blacksmith, for example. So not having access to that wood is going to delay his addition of a blacksmith, grabbing the blacksmith upgrades. And Beasty, as you said, he's not far away from Castle Age either. Beasty is probably going to think about opening up with double Lancers, but ultimately he's going to work towards adding a second town center for himself. So I feel like Beasty has reacted really well to this semi-fast castle approach from DeMusliM, and I gotta say, I'm a little disappointed about that Abbey of the Kings, because it really wasn't used to great effect. It's like, yeah, sure, it healed up some of those horsemen, but it's not like you get a tremendous value out of that so far.
Now the gold mine going to be under threat from that outpost. We can see that still Beastyqt is sitting out there unawares. DeMusliM is about to be losing villagers, and now we see that that arrow is going to be coming in. Khan going to be working overtime here as well. And once again, DeMusliM is forced off another resource. There are many outposts around this base for DeMusliM, and he is struggling behind this. Beastyqt continues just living his best life. He is happy. And this is really, what goes... This, to me, it just demonstrates the power of the tower.
No. That is
a
bad sight to see. I mean, they are going to take down the tower, but this is a big sign for Beasty that's telling him just one thing. Okay, I'm desperate, because that is a desperate move when you pull like 30 villagers to try and burn down that tower. Sure enough, it works, but all of those villagers are right now idle. They have to relocate to that gold mine. And Beasty knows that DeMusliM is struggling with resource control right now.
Yeah, I think that's exactly it. He's really struggling with resource control, and he's trying his best to secure up these positions here. And now you can see villagers continuing to be under attack from that outpost towards the north. Villagers just extending out over that position, and it looks like double Lancer production going to be coming in here for Beastyqt. So he's going to be looking now, and once again we can see DeMusliM is going to be suffering. You can see that he's trying his best to gather up these resources here underneath the wood line, but the outpost is just still with its arrow slits doing so much damage, just being so freaking annoying, and the Khan, of course, running around just being relentless here.
And the Yam network is coming in clutch as well. It is so painful for the English to catch those units running circles around this one. Right now it's just one Khan, but the first couple of Lancers are soon coming in. And when those arrive, they're going to start picking off villagers. Defensive tower finally coming in for DeMusliM. But he's struggling to access resources. And if you look at the villager count, he was also very distracted. He's only at 39 villagers as opposed to 36, despite having that King's Palace up for a long time. So he was so distracted with all this aggression coming his way that he simply isn't able to capitalize on having an extra town center over the opponent.
And he's continuing to lose villages right now. Look at the damage that this outpost is doing. Double Lancers going to be running in, providing line of sight, as well as providing some Lancers in the back of those villages. One of those villages definitely, nope, not definitely going to be going down. Not going to be going down at all. And the Abbey of Kings going to be able to heal it back up eventually when it does come to. But yeah, watching the way that Beastyqt is playing right now, I think it serves as a great lesson to anybody who is an aspiring tower rusher, in that you don't have to do critical damage with your towers. As we see more Lancers running in, trying to kill villagers here, the Knight's going to be trying to tackle them and do some damage. Now, keep in mind the trades here for Beastyqt are always going to be a bit of a question mark, because DeMusliM's going to be able to heal up. That's the big thing. He's going to be able to send those units back towards the Abbey of Kings. Plenty more units running in now for Beastyqt, but look at this. DeMusliM holding on with the defense. As long as he's killing units, he is trading non-stop and doing very effectively with it.
Yeah, exactly. DeMusliM is holding this one back for the time being. Beastyqt could use a couple of Springald towers for himself, actually, or some crossbows. Both of those work. Looks like he's just going to use this window that he has with DeMusliM defending to pick up relics. You can see that he already has a shaman out there. But yeah, if he wanted to be a little more aggressive, he could do that with crossbows or Springald towers. He still had a villager on the front, I do believe, and the problem right now for these towers is that they don't do much against those knights. They only have arrow slits, and as you pointed out, it helps a lot that you do have that Abbey of the Kings now healing yourself up. This is where it really starts to shine, when you have these high-value units, the knights, that you can heal back up. Plus, of course, you do have the network of castles aura affecting those knights as well. So Beasty won't be able to take a lot of direct engagements over here, so it's going to come down to picking off villagers with those knights.
Yeah, so far everything's actually looking pretty damn decent for DeMusliM. I gotta be honest with you. I'm impressed with how this has gone for him so far. At first, we looked at this and we said, well, you know, it didn't really seem to do that much work in the early stages of the game, but now we start actually seeing where that value is coming from. Can we take a look right now at DeMusliM's Knights and see what the health is on those bad boys? Because I suspect all of them are full health right now.
Yeah, they should be.
Let's have a look right there. Yeah, pretty close to it. So that right there is the power of the Abbey of Kings. It's just going to continue to heal up these knights. He's going to be able to fall back towards the Abbey of Kings, and it's going to heal that up. So he can just take trades constant. And these are the types of trades he wants to be taking. Now, Beastyqt should recognize this and make sure, okay, well, if this is the kind of fight that he wants to take, I got to be really careful. I can't lose any units, because if I do and he manages to get them away, then it's going to mean that he gets to keep those units, basically like a French player would be able to keep his knights. But now we see the Lancers running underneath the town center. Villagers going to be caught with their pants down. DeMusliM going to be trying to make their way back towards the town center. You can see there's only 15 villagers in that town center, 20 now, and all the villagers going to get caught out. You can see the knights just going to town right now, trying to keep these villagers alive, but they are struggling, and Beastyqt going to be cleaning house here. You can see that DeMusliM down to less than 50 villagers now. Beastyqt in arm's reach when it comes to the villager count, but a counterattack coming through now down towards the south side.
I love this move from Beastyqt, because the thing is that he's got some Lancers back at home to defend. He's got the Yam network to try and run away from those knights, extend the lifetime of those villagers. He's going to take some casualties himself, but he also did quite a lot of damage to the DeMusliM's eco, so I feel like this is a better trade here for Beasty, mainly because DeMusliM right now isn't able to use his best bonus, which is Network of Castles or the ability to heal up those knights, and Beasty continues to pick up villagers on those farms. On the other side, you see most of these knights are getting cleaned up by the town center fire now. Yeah, Beasty down to 43 villagers, 48 is the count right now for DeMusliM. Probably a better trade over here for Beasty in the end.
Yeah, he's got to be careful here. You can see the warrior or the monk coming in, holding onto that relic. going to be able to just prevent that attack from coming through. But now the arrow slits on that outpost going to be coming through shortly. And you can see Beasty relentless over on this north side against DeMuslim's double town center. But we see plenty of villages continuing to be cleaned up. DeMuslim definitely looking at a bit of a villager fire sale right now. These guys are absolutely on sale. And he's looking to clean up every single one.
Knights are gonna get cleaned up inside the base of Beasty as well, but the idle time was tremendous. You can see that 0 food per minute is the count right now for Beasty. So Beasty took a big beating over here. Those couple of knights did a lot of damage here. And in the end, I think DeMuslim has to be happy with this trade because he's got 2 town centers and his opponent only has 1. So the relative villager casualties were comparable, but obviously Beasty being on 1 town center, it's a much longer recovery for him. Look at the pasture positions actually, that's also interesting. At the other side of the forest, sheep have to walk all the way around here. Beasty now is slowly recovering, but he has taken a big beating, and at some point he's gonna have to start adding that 2nd town center because otherwise he's going to fall behind in eco so much.
Springwood emplacement taking that knight down to 13 health. And it's going to come back, and you guessed it, it is going to be sitting underneath that Abbey of Kings. We'll take a look at the health on it because that's going to be rocketing up. It's going to be mooning right now. Take a look at, there it is, that one right there. Look at that, 43, 49. Count it out with me, Lidakor. We can count. 1, 2, 73. Yeah, you can see how quickly that heals. That is incredibly quick. That is a meaningful bonus right there.
That is a big, big bonus, and it really works well for these high-value, high-mobility units because the thing is that you need mobility in order to be able to pull back the injured units, but you also need high-value units because you just want to keep these alive, right? So for the composition that DeMusliM is playing with, which is knights, this building is working really well.
I'm loving the momentum that he's got through the center here. The issue that he's going to have are these outposts. So the question is, does DeMusliM look at dealing with these outposts in the center? Does he let them continue remaining in place? The problem is if he does, then he's going to be dealing with them constantly throughout the game. Any type of raid that he tries to do down here on the south side, he's going to be intercepted non-stop with these outposts. So I wouldn't be surprised if we do see a trebuchet or 2 out from him. But at the same time, he might just stay in the base, chill out for a little bit. More knights continuing to come out. He's looking to get all those upgrades through as well. Still no double broadaxe, no specialized pick for either player, but both of them picking up fertilization at this stage, or actually that's horticulture that is coming through right now.
The thing is for DeMusliM is that I don't think that he wants to invest into a trebuchet right now. That would be a pretty big investment for him to just deal with those towers out there, especially given the fact that Beasty's got the lancers to snipe those trebuchets with. But as you said, at some point he's gonna have to deal with those because it makes like very difficult to just pull back the injured units when you have Springald towers shooting those retreating ones. And by definition, the units that you pull back, those are probably injured. So those will be caught by the Springald fire, likely going down. That's not gonna help DeMusliM. And the other concern for him is that so far these fights were good for him because both players were playing with knights and lancers. But now Beasty's adding crossbowmen, and you can see he's also sneaking out that relic from that far right corner, or the northern corner rather. And with that, Beasty would be sitting on 5 relics to compensate for his lack of villagers or lower villager count than DeMusliM, and he would have the crossbows to deal with all of those knights.
Yeah, he's looking pretty good at this point. I'm curious as to whether he's added in a 2nd town center. It doesn't look like it just yet, but we've got knights on lancers in the base of DeMusliM. DeMusliM going to be able to deal with this pretty effectively, and we can see that his unit's going to be able to heal up. Step it out, going to be moving down to the south side together with the Uvu, and it looks like he's going to be able to clean out this outpost finally. We can see it's got only arrow slits on it, so you need not be concerned, but I'd love to take a look from Beasty's perspective right now. What is the line of sight for Beastyqt at this point in the game? Because I suspect it is the entire map.
Yeah, it has to be really, really good. And you see, he's got perfect vision. He knows exactly when DeMusliM is moving out of his base. Luckily for DeMusliM, he isn't really moving out, so it's not like he's gonna have villagers that can be intercepted by those lancers. But as you said, finally the tower does get cleaned up on the left side. Beasty up to 13 crossbows now. I feel like he's going to start to get rolling very soon. Looks like that shaman isn't going to live very long. The knights will intercept him. Stealth Forest might actually save that shaman though.
Yeah, we can see he's doing a pretty decent job right now, DeMusliM, of just cleaning up these outposts. Looks like the shaman is going to be cleaned up, unfortunately, but there's plenty of crossbows here to dish out a bit of pain over towards the other side of the field. But now continuing to push out here. DeMusliM looking in a pretty decent position. He's down, or he's up about 15 villagers, but obviously that's offset by the fact that there's 5 relics for Beastyqt. Beastyqt probably going to be adding in that 2nd town center sooner rather than later, you would expect. Actually, he's already got the 2nd town center. It is now in the 2nd town center, so that's going to help him keep up in the villager count. So there's a bit of a deficit, so that is definitely a great timing for him to have that one coming down.
Yeah,
makes a lot of sense. My question to you, Lidakor, these two civilizations in the late game, which one would you prefer to be? Assuming that they get in on the even footing.
Ooh, like, my straight up answer would be either, because these two civilizations are late game juggernauts. I would personally probably prefer the English, because the English have one thing that the Mongols don't, and that is walls. Sure enough, the Mongols can drop 15 million spring gold towers, but that takes quite a long time to build up. And technically, if you don't have a ton of spring gold towers at a certain location, knights can still run past and start hitting your ecos. So I would personally prefer to be the English, but I feel like both of these civilizations have insane late game capabilities.
I got to agree with you, and I would personally prefer to be the English in this position as well. Obviously, the Mongol late game is definitely a threat, but for me, the big thing that attracts me is the Wingard Palace. That is really what makes me excited about the English late game, together with enclosures. It just basically means you've got non-stop trebuchets coming out, so even though your enemy's putting up outposts all over the map, well, you've got trebuchets for days, and if you lose one, if you lose two, you're not fussed. You can lose 10, because they're very easy to rebuild.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Plus, your economy is very population efficient as well. So the farmers generating gold for you as well is great. Obviously, in this scenario, Beastyqt does have 5 relics. So it's a bit of a bittersweet approach for the Muslim to go to late game here with the English. Because, yeah, sure enough, the English is a great late game civilization. Maybe even better than the Mongols. However, Beast is pretty well set up for that late game. But it looks like the Muslim is not thinking about that. The Muslim might be going into Imperial substantially faster than his opponent. You see, he's already falling 2,400 food. That's the eco juggernaut of the English kicking in with those farms.
Yeah, we'll have to see exactly how he's playing it, but you can see how many farms he's got there. That's going to be close to 40 villages on food right now. I wouldn't be surprised, but you can see down towards the south, though, Beastyqt is still doing a pretty decent job with the economy. He's 16 villages behind at this point. Interestingly, no third town centers getting added. Sometimes we do see players in this position add it, but DeMusliM now clicking up to that 4th age. We'll take a look and see whether we can spot that Wingard. I suspect it's going to be Wingard. Yeah. There's no way he goes Berkshire here.
Yeah, it's going to be Wingard, and indeed, it is a Wingard. Notably, all 4 landmarks are on the same screen, so that could be a factor if this game goes very, very long. But it shouldn't really be a big deal right now. And I love this from the Muslim. He's got the eco to do this. Rushing Imperial means that he's gonna get enclosure sooner, so that passive gold trickle is going to start kicking in a little sooner. And what's more important is that, we talked about this, Beastyqt right now is not set up with that network of outposts. He only has a couple of outposts scattered across the map. So if the Muslim gets that power spike in Imperial, gets the upgrades in, he can march straight towards the base of Beastyqt and do a ton of damage, because Beastyqt's army won't be able to really fight this off. Both armies being knights and crossbows, but obviously the Muslim having the imp upgrades.
Let there be no confusion, let there be no question. DeMusliM has not forgotten his enclosures technology. You can see it was immediately the first thing he hit when he hit Imperial. He went straight into it. He also gets a Wingard army as well. He's going to be looking to move out with that trebuchet and clean up these outposts once and for all. DeMusliM is looking very good in this game.
Yeah, I also love how he's moving out towards those outposts, but guess what? Beasty knows that he's gotta push, because he can't wait for the opponent to grab those upgrades. But pushing the English is really difficult, especially without any siege on the battlefield. You got the network of castles bonus affecting the Muslim's army, you got the town center fire out there. So, the Muslim, he can hold this off here, and now Beasty actually capping all 3 sacred side. That puts the Muslim on a bit of a timer.
Yeah, it's a 10-minute timer, quite a lot of time here, considering we've still got Imperial that has been reached for DeMusliM, but he's looking pretty decent. Still yet to get any of those elite upgrades through just yet, but struggling to try and keep afloat over on this western front. You can see that both players opting for the exact same composition, so no men-at-arms, no spearmen, no archers coming out, just going to be crossbows mixed with knights. Very interesting to see, but now Beastyqt on the other side of the map going to be dropping down the white stupa, and will be looking to make sure that there are plenty of pastures inside this bad boy. He is going to be getting double the income of stone in this late game.
And I love how he's keeping up the pressure on the Muslim's base right now. He knows that if the Muslim is able to get the upgrades, if the Muslim is allowed to move out of his base, then he can knock out Beasty before Beasty can get his own upgrades. The concern now for Beasty is that he's going to have to sacrifice a lot of units in order to keep up this pressure. You see, he's down to 7 Lancers only. He still has a big force of crossbows, but that's not gonna be enough.
That's not going to be enough. That is a lot of units right there for DeMusliM. He could push, he could finish right now if he wanted to. That is so many knights coming out for DeMusliM. You can see he's sitting up on 16 knights. That is more than enough to roll over those crossbows, but it looks like he doesn't commit to it today. Beasty now hitting Imperial, and you can see straight away going for those elite upgrades. In fact, we've got elite upgrades coming through for... Actually, no, it is just Beastyqt. We are just in his perspective, but a keep going to be coming up for DeMusliM on the front side of his base. If we take a look, can we take a look at DeMusliM's POV? I want to take a look exactly what his line of sight is right now, because I suspect it is very, very short. He can barely see in front of his nose right now.
Yeah, it's going to be a very short line of sight indeed. He's very much limited. In fact, he's blindly making that keep, which is a little risky. An army could pop out and start knocking him out. Now, looking at him, he's grabbing the Elite Knight upgrade just now. I get the feel that that upgrade was probably queued behind like 2 or 3 knights, and it didn't start because the knights had to be produced first. So, you see, he's yet to grab those upgrades, now grabbing Network of Citadels though. But the timing of those upgrades is going to be comparable to Beasty, and that's not a good sign for DeMusliM because he was much faster to Imperial.
And Beasty's also getting biology here, and I suspect it may be improved biology, which could definitely be something difficult to deal with. It's very close, if I remember correctly, to the French unique upgrade Royal Bloodlines. I think about 5% difference. So we'll check in on his upgrades. It is just going to be the standard biology at this point in time. Obviously, the improved one is going to cost a lot of stone, but now elite upgrades coming through. Yeah, I think is it 1,000 extra stone on top of it?
Yeah, it's something like that, because I think it's 300 food, 700 gold, and the stone count is usually the combined resource count, so it's around 1,000. It's very, very expensive.
Yeah, so now we see elite crossbows as well as elite knights coming out for both players. Interesting that despite DeMusliM having a little bit of an advantage with regard to his speed of aging up, he actually takes a little bit longer to get his upgrades. Beasty's just immediately clicking on them as soon as he gets up. But one of the other things to note is DeMusliM's village account has now actually dipped below Beastyqt. So we've got an economic advantage swinging in favor of Beastyqt here. Because don't forget, he's also got the 5 relics and he's also got the 3 sacred sites in his possession.
And the step redoubt. So yeah, that is equally enough for Beasty. So
yeah, step redoubt going to be throwing out a lot of extra resources here.
Surprising. Okay, those gold miners, they're doing a bit of a long-distance gold mining, potentially, but the thing is that DeMusliM has stopped producing villagers over here. He's probably focused on just pumping out as much army as he can, potentially just going for, 85 villagers, 115 army. It wouldn't be unprecedented from the English, the death bowl of English with longbows, crossbows, and some knights. But he's yet to reach that critical mass. In fact, army numbers are looking quite comparable here.
Oh, those crossbows. You could see he split them up and they just all decided to head off in different directions. Now we've got bombards coming out for Beastyqt. Incendiary arrows coming out on both sides of the field here. So both players are looking to really stack up the fire when it comes to the arrows. But DeMusliM going to be capping this sacred site in the center. That was a 6-minute and 41-second timer remaining on that. It is gone now. So take your timers, get them out, throw them out, and reassess the situation, because right now players are starting to prepare for the late game. It definitely seems like the trench is being built here in the middle of the map.
Indeed, and you see that we now have cannon emplacements coming in on those towers, and this is where they're really getting dangerous, because that tower creep is going to expand your YAN network, which means that you always have the mobility advantage, and more importantly, it's very difficult to break through. You see, some trebuchets from those Vanguard army are actually dealing with those quite effectively, but it just takes so much time to deal with all those towers. Looks like we do have a detachment of knights on the left side, though. Could be getting ready for a counterattack, and this villager... Oh, he's on a mission. He's on a mission. Don't disturb him.
What are you doing, you sneaky villager? Trying to chop that wood over there? Naughty little guy. He's going to get dealt with the way that villagers always get dealt with back in the Imperial Age. Nice little bit of a sword in the back.
Yeah, that likely is the fate of that villager. We got some blue dots in that far left corner that DeMusliM is right now walling off. You see, DeMusliM wants to secure that left-hand side, wants to cap that sacred side, because obviously he's down 5 relics. Oof. So he can cut into that by having at least a couple of sacred sites under his control. But he's also going to lose a couple of villagers here to the Springald Tower Fire. There has to be a villager in this corner as well, because there's so many towers in here.
Yeah, there is a lot of outposts coming up for Beastyqt. He knows how to play his Mongols, that is for sure. And that's one of the beautiful things about the Mongols, is just simply because of the way that they exhaust the stone mines, you've always got stone in your back pocket. So you never have to think twice about, oh, I should allocate villages to stone. No, you've always got stone in the back pocket ready for emplacements. And we can see he's taken out a lot of those villages. But now another raid going to be coming through in the base of DeMusliM. He's on 89 villages, Beastyqt on 105. So now the gap is really starting to build. DeMusliM struggling with this villager count, 180 population. And now we see the attack speed arrow going to be going off. Springalds, rather, crossbows looking like Springalds, just taking down the knights of DeMusliM, and he's going to have to force a retreat here. Going to continue to have a bit of a gap in this wall, unfortunately.
DeMusliM is just confined to his base the whole time. This is growing and growing as a concern for him, because you see, Beasty is claiming once again that sacred site for himself in the middle, and he's dropping those towers all across the map, stripping the map barren of resources like he did in game number 1. And the problem right now for DeMusliM is that that group of crossbows that the Beasty has is just deadly. And right now, DeMusliM sitting at 25 longbows though, so that could be a great response to this. But at some point, DeMusliM is going to have to start moving out of his base, because he can't sit back forever like he did in game number 1.
We saw an outpost in that position at the 4th minute. We see an outpost at that position going up at the 31st minute. It is a position that has been targeted multiple times, but now DeMusliM once again going to be attacked on this front side. You can see the villagers going to be going down. It looks like he's got plenty of crossbows out. No hand cannoneers getting mixed in just yet, it seems, but plenty. He's got 40 of them out. But that's exactly what he needs to be doing. He needs to be gaining line of sight and establishing control with his trebuchets, and they're getting pretty high in number. He's got 5 trebuchets out. Once you get to 6, I think that's the critical number to actually one-shot those bombards, and that's where you want to get to. But it can be hard going up against these Mongol bombards. You can see they're a little bit speedier than the standard siege piece.
Indeed they are, and of course shattering projectiles for those trebuchets also helps against like clumped up groups of infantry, especially like a volley of 6 rocks. That can do quite a lot of devastation in a big group of infantry. But a thing that's gonna be interesting to look at is DeMusliM's army of longbows, because that's not something that Beasty has an answer to right now. He's got the lancers, sure thing, but there's also crossbows over here for DeMusliM and his own lancers to deal with that. So the unit composition seems a little more favorable for DeMusliM right now.
Yeah, the issue that he's going to have are these knight numbers. These are looking pretty good, and a bit of a battle breaking out towards the north. We can see Lance is going to be going at it toe-to-toe with a couple of knights, but Beastyqt going to be trying to hold on. 4 bombards coming out now for Beastyqt, looking to try and take control of this central site, but we can see that the trebuchet is going to be coming out in response and looking to take out those bombards. Indeed they do. The first one does go down. Keep is probably going to be going down here as well. We can see the bombard second one probably going to be going down. Indeed, it's taking shots. Watch out for those rocks. Those are big bloody rocks. They hurt.
Yeah, they do hurt, and so are the knights that are coming from the backline every once in a while. You see, there are still some lancers in here by Beasty, and this is a growing concern right now for DeMusliM. He has to station so many units at the backline because there are still raids going on at minute 32 after he has had those stone walls built, and this doesn't allow him to break out right now. He did lose the castle here in the middle, and DeMusliM is once again just confined into his base. Beasty still controlling all 3 sacred sites, by the way, including the one in the far left that is technically walled off by DeMusliM.
And you know what else Beasty's got behind enemy lines? Not just raiding knights, it is, of course, villagers building more outposts. That's right, somehow, let this be a lesson to all aspiring Mongol players. We talked about it a bit earlier. Your outpost rush doesn't need to be doing damage, critical damage. We can see that Beastyqt continues to add in outposts, still does damage at the 34th minute in the game here. It's beautiful stuff. But now, a bit of a raid coming through towards the base of DeMusliM. He is evacuating villagers like it's a dance floor right now. It is infected by the sound, and he's going to be trying to hold on over towards this western side, but once again, Bombard's going to be looking to break through. You can see those Gatling guns firing off towards the lancers, but not a lot of luck. Things move quick.
Yeah, they move quickly, and we see, once again, Beasty's opening up a new front line over here. Defensive castle coming up here for DeMusliM, but that's not gonna be long-lived. I don't think it's going up. The bombards are opening up, the crossbows are opening up. Even if it goes up, it's gonna be instantly destroyed by those bombards, and that is, once again, a victory here for Beasty. Looks like it's even gonna be cancelled by DeMusliM. Beasty's winning more and more battles over here, and he's getting closer and closer to winning the war, I feel.
I agree with you. Take a look at the villager count. He's down to 66 villagers. We have seen a noticeable decline in villager count for DeMusliM here. His gold is starting to really tremble, and this is the difference between these two civs. You've got the Mongols that have got 5 relics in the bag. They've got the 3 sacred sites ticking. They've got the Steppe Redoubt that's just got 40 villagers on a gold mine. They're pumping out 2,400 gold a minute. And compare that over to DeMusliM, who's running on 58 villagers, basically running on fumes right now. It is not a good position for him to be in. He is struggling to make ends meet over on that north side of the map.
Yeah, he's struggling big time, and the thing is that enclosures give you a very nice trickle of gold, but it's not something that you can compare to, as you said, Steppe Redoubt with 40 villagers or something. So DeMusliM not having mineable gold available is basically something that's limiting him massively. Oh, he lost the castle! He had to lose it.
Oh, that was it. That's painful right there. So for anybody wondering what just happened, that was a bombard shooting a keep that was just built, and as a result, it means it is immediately killed, and the stone is not refunded. It wasn't cancelled. If it was cancelled, the stone gets refunded. It did not get refunded, and so he loses every single bit of that stone in that keep. DeMusliM really looking like he's on the edge right now. You can see him trying to keep it together, but he is struggling. He's on 53 villagers. I'd love to see like a 3rd town center out of him just to try and help with that villager deficit, but Beastyqt sitting on 117 right now. He's stacking up plenty of resources as well. More than 12,000 resources extra stacked up right now for him. He is looking very healthy.
Yeah, he's looking very healthy, and finally DeMusliM is going to decap that sacred site. But obviously Beast is going to be more than happy that he was able to hold it for so long, because that's just a ton of extra gold that trickled in. And right now DeMusliM is being kept alive by the 106 units that he has army-wise. His eco is not looking good, even with the English farming. And as you said, Beast has got such a large resource bank. Beasty could start suiciding wave after wave of cavalry into the eco of DeMusliM and still get away with that, because his eco is just so big. And look at that, the bombard tower just wiping out all those villagers. That could be another 10-15 villagers getting killed over there.
Go back to the villagers. I want to see them all die because they're all standing in one spot on top of each other, bugging out, and that bombard tower just continues firing over them. You can see how many villagers are just sitting there dead at the base. And indeed, that bombard tower continues firing off and dishing out damage. But now another raid going to be coming through. DeMusliM down to 52 villagers at this point. And you got to start wondering, DeMusliM, how many villagers is it going to take? This is just absolute crazy stuff coming out now. Beasty just raiding him to death, quite literally raiding him to death at this point. And now continuing to move forward with more units. Look at the trebuchet numbers, though, out for DeMusliM. That is a formidable force of trebuchets right there.
Yeah, and a formidable force of longbows. Look at that. That's 50 longbows with network of citadels available. That's not a fight that Beasty can take by any means. DeMusliM has no eco, but he's got an army, that's for sure.
Hold on a minute, Beasty's got bombards, and one thing to remember about those bombards, they might be single target, but I tell you what, they do a lot of damage. They're going to be one-shotting each of those units, and you can see him pushing up now, continuing to strive towards greatness, and indeed, those longbows are going to be tough, but the trebuchet's turning around. You've caught their attention, and now they're going to be unfolding, unpacking, and looking to dish out damage. Looks like the bombards, got to be careful here. You can see them moving forward slowly but steadily, but still those trebs are holding on. DeMusliM still sitting at 150 population at this point. He's actually population capped. Doesn't have enough to actually, or doesn't have enough houses to get any more units out. Doesn't actually have the wood for it either. That's the thing, right? He's got 330 wood a minute.
Yeah, he just lost a ton of houses on the front line, and now he's housed, as you said. And he's got a huge army, or at least nominally a huge army, but quite a lot of those are trebuchets, which technically work well, but the moment Beasty starts just flooding units out there, they're not gonna be a big factor out here. And just 49 villagers, insufficient for DeMusliM, and you don't see that number increase either, so he's right now sitting at 49, and shattering projectiles only just now coming in for DeMusliM for his trebuchets. And the 3rd sacred site once again got capped by Beasty. How brutal is that, capping that sacred site on the far left corner that is technically walled off by DeMusliM?
Yeah, that's very, very brutal, and it just goes to show the strength of Beasty in the late game. He's getting all of the upgrades. You can see it coming through. Beasty actually only getting melee armor right now. It is, you know, we're talking about late upgrades with that shattering projectiles coming through at 38 minutes, but Beastyqt actually only getting level 1 of that melee armor right now. But he's got 10 bombards out. And this is something that we've seen repeatedly from Beastyqt in this series. It is just the massing of siege. He is not afraid to mass up siege in crazy, ludicrous numbers. And that's exactly what we see as he pushes in towards the front. Looks like the crossbows on the front side are just doing some damage towards those houses. DeMusliM sitting on 160 population at the moment. He's going to be struggling to reinforce this. He's trying his best to hold on. But unfortunately, it looks like Beasty's going to have to pull back for the moment in time. The 10 bombards just not going to be enough for it.
I think he just intentionally suicided all his crossbows in that battle because he's running towards like 50 longbows with his crossbows. And if you take a look at the overall military numbers now for Beasty, he's switching into Lancers. He's down, or he's up to 24 Lancers now. I'm fairly certain he just threw away all those crossbows because he knows that he's mostly up against longbows right now and some Lancers. So it makes sense for him to go for his own knights as well. And now he's catching those trebuchets off guard.
Yeah, we can see that now the push is starting to begin coming forward. The trebuchet's got to be careful. They do get picked off. I think he lost 2 there in the battle. DeMusliM sitting down on 139 population. Beastyqt, we're up to 187 population on his side. The upgrade's still coming through. I'm not sure if that's bugged on the overlay or something, but that melee upgrade is still coming through. Look at the bombards circled around the sacred site like a bunch of monks looking to pray over the potential win condition. But now continuing to push forward, you can see the bombard's going to be doing plenty of work here. Trebuchets on the backside trying to focus them down one by one, but it's going to take a while. There goes the first one, and now continuing to focus down these units individually. This is what makes Bombard so damn strong. They are just so effective. They've got no area of effect, but they do absolutely insane amounts of damage to these single infantry units.
Yeah, that's exactly it, and it's difficult for those longbows to just close the gap in between themselves and those bombards. You see, those towers are out there also raining down death and destruction on those longbows, and it takes so much firepower to deal with those bombards, and DeMusliM knows that. He was down to 100 population. Beastyqt takes game number 4 here, and with that moves on to match point, increases his win rate even further with the Mongols moving on to 12-1.
Yeah, very impressive stuff there from Beastyqt. Sorry, DeMusliM tried his best to hold on. I love the play coming out from DeMusliM there, but unfortunately for him, just wasn't his game today.
No, not at all. And we have seen the same issues that sort of plagued game number 1 for DeMusliM, just confined into his own base. And it's not necessarily his fault. It's just Beasty exploiting every single direction where he can flank from. And throughout this game, the story was that Beasty was repeatedly dropping towers left and right, harassing those villagers, moving in with the knights from the left, from the right. And I mean, the fact that he was able to control that sacred site in the far left corner, which was so close to the Muslims' base, stands for the fact of how good he was able to control the entire map.
Yeah, for me, it was just like the constant outpost. I think that was the big thing that sets him apart. And you know, as you mentioned, Beasty, when it comes to Mongols, it's tower rush, tower rush, tower rush. But he wasn't just tower rushing. He was just constantly tower attacking. We saw outposts going up in that same position at like the 31st minute. He was sneaking villages behind that stone wall, looking to get more and more outposts up.